Hey everybody, welcome to Brainiac Baseball's 1980 Detroit Lions alternate history. In today's edition, we're going to take a look back at week 11 of the season where we took a big loss to the Cowboys. And after we do that, we're going to look ahead to our next matchup versus the Cincinnati Bengals. And yesterday's game was a real bummer. I think our strategy was great. When we started passing, you can see our 247 passing yards here. When we started passing on third and long situations, we did make a lot of completions. We're spreading the ball around. Freddie Scott wasn't a significant factor until the end of the ball game, really, when it was too late. Our biggest problem is we could not run the ball versus the Cowboys' front line. We only had 38 yards, our worst of the season. We did have a 43-yard performance versus the Rams. So just a real bummer. We were kind of in it at halftime. We were down one score. We had a chance to make it interesting, but Eddie Murray missed a field goal, and we were never able to recover. We had a couple interceptions, some costly penalties. I mean, it's the Detroit Lions. We make those mistakes. And it's ridiculous, really, that we had a -1 point spread. We probably should have had a 7 or 10 point spread for the game, but it just didn't happen. So we'll take a look at our team stats here momentarily. I think let's take a look at the contest for the Billy Sims autograph jersey. So we got it right this week. Everybody was a winner in the sense that they picked the right team to win. Don T and Sean both picked the over-under correctly. And I think going forward for the last 5 weeks, I would like the three of you, and I want to make this as easy as possible, but I would like the three of you to give me your information for the game, but not in the comments below. I'll put my email down below. You can email it to me if you prefer, or if you're a Facebook friend, or if you're a friend of the Brainiac Baseball Facebook page, you can contact me through there and let me know who you're picking for the winner for week 12. So Sean and Don both are close. They have the same amount of wins technically, and both have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So both have also have the tiebreaker tied with the over/unders guessed correctly. Okay, so I think that if the rest of the way, if you contact me in other means, then we will not have as many maybe double ups. I know everything's on the up and up, but I would like it to be, not someone having to see someone else's predictions for the last 5 weeks. And that way, everyone is making their guess based on their best judgment. Okay, is that fair? I think that's fair. That's all I want, is to make this fair. I have not been a very good coach this year, as we're 3-8, and we're getting ready to play the Bengals. We're going to look at the Bengals team. The point spread is a pick 'em. So all that means is you just pick who you think is going to win. And if you guess right, you win. And the over-under is high. It's 45.5 points. So we have terrible linebacking right now, as we lost Darrell Luce, our second best linebacker, for the next 3 weeks. And maybe that's why the point spread is so high, is because we have nobody to stop the run. So let's take a look at the Lions stats here. Here's our offense. Now the good news is, here's the good news, if there's any. We get Keith Dorney back from injury. We get Willie Parker back from injury. So we do have our best options for the offensive line in there. These are the same 5 that we started the season with, which Doesn't mean anything, but other than these are the players that we chose because we believe they're going to, do a good job for us. So our offense, all of them, every player here in the lineup are the best players at their position. So that's the good news offensively. Let's take a look at Gary Danielson. Take a look at Danielson there. He had a good game. He just keeps... I would love to have a game where he doesn't throw an interception. He's got 17 interceptions with 14 touchdowns and a career high in yardage, 2,762 yards. So he has been sacked 13 times. And we were sacked a couple of times in yesterday's ball game. The Cowboys were just too tough defensively. I feel bad we lost that game, but I don't think it was ever going to be in the cards for us. Here's Billy Sims. He had his worst game of the season. He did make a couple receptions out of the backfield. So he's got 191 yards receiving, a couple touchdowns. But I think he had maybe 30 yards total rushing, maybe not even that. So he's still 30 yards shy of 1,000. He'll get that this week. Dexter Bussey almost didn't have anything to do in our game. He did get us a couple first downs rushing, and he caught one pass for 19 yards, which is not something he typically does. He did a good job. David Hill. Hill had a great game. I think he had... he had two receptions. One was a long one for a first down that was really valuable in the moment. I would have thought he would have had a better year. His overall rating is 74. As the season has progressed, we have seen some of the overall numbers decrease. So I think the more usage, the less likely they are to produce for you. So here is Freddie Scott. Not a particularly great game for him. I don't believe he had 100 yards receiving, but he does have 78 receptions and 1,388 yards, which both lead the NFL right now. So good job by him. Leonard Thompson showed up big time, showed up early when we needed him most, when we're trying to get some drives going. So it was probably one of his more productive games. If he has a good game against the Bengals, he'll have a new career high in yardage. I think we go to the lineman here, which we don't really care about, but we will take a look at Ulysses Norris. He had his second reception. We used that one play that is to Norris, and it worked for the first time all season. So I think it was a 19-yard gain or something to that effect. So that was kind of exciting. Rick Kane had a good game for us. He's becoming integral on third downs with that little flat pass, the little waggle that we throw to him. He's got 13 receptions, which is not too bad for a guy that doesn't really have much to offer normally. So he's contributing, and I'm a fan of Rick Kane. So looking at our wide receivers, Mike Freedy, he had the big play of the game. He had a 46-yard touchdown pass in yesterday's ball game. His second on the season, 23 receptions for 292 yards. So he's been pretty valuable. He's missed a little bit of time. Jesse Thompson caught a big pass in yesterday's game when we were in the bunched receivers set, and he found himself open and caught a first down. He's got 8 first downs and 9 receptions, so he knows where to find the first down line. Ray Williams had a reception. He's got a touchdown, too, which is crazy. All right, so we don't really need to see anything else here with the line. It's good to have the offense back. I think we will have a better offensive output versus the Bengals, but we'll have to see what their defense looks like here momentarily. Special teams for special players. Eddie Murray, he has been very good all year, but he missed the field goal yesterday between 30 and 39 yards. And that was a rally killer. It was a kind of a chip shot. I think it was 30 yards, actually. And he missed it wide right. And that just killed us. And I don't know. It's incredibly disappointing that we couldn't capitalize. And then there's our punter, Tom Skladany, 46.3 average, so pretty good. And you see the punt returner, John Arnold, 20.5 average, and punt returning 6.1. So let's look at the defense real quick. This is where we're in trouble. I don't know. We can't make any trades or anything. And I struggle to come up with a good plan. We have a whole stockpile of linebackers, but there's nobody here that we can use that's better than what we have out there already. So Stan White, we're going to make him our middle linebacker, and Dave Simmons, who has now started 3 games due to injury. He shouldn't even be out there. And Gary Cobb, who I think he led the team in tackles in his first appearance of the year. He will get his first start of the season. Prentice McRae had a good game. Ray Oldham had a good game. We're not worried about this. Our defensive line is not good. We're good with the tackles, and we're poor with the defensive ends. Bubba Baker has been almost completely eliminated from sacks. I mean, he hasn't had a sack since week 3. He had 4 in 3 weeks, and he has not had any since then. And when we started blitzing late in the game yesterday, the only person that could get through was William Gay. He got a sack yesterday. So I don't really know what else to do defensively to make the team better. But so yeah, Charlie Weaver is out for the year. We already know that. Daryl Luce is going to be out for 3 weeks, so we won't see him back until week 15, which will be tough to get by without him. And Dave Purifoy is out for 5 weeks, so he'll be back in time for the final game of the season. I don't know what else to say about our defense. I mean, I think that's where this 45.5 points comes from. Let's take a look at the Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals. This was a great team back then. They're only 4-7 right now, though. Let's take a look at their offense, see if they have anybody injured, anything that we can capitalize on. Oh, they do not have any offensive injuries, so that's kind of a bummer. They do have the great Kenny Anderson. Is he in the Hall of Fame? I don't know. He played for so long, and he was one of the better cornerbacks of the 70s and early 80s. So look at that, 109 passer rating, only 1,840 yards, 20 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. So he's having a career year. There's his 1980 football card out of Illinois. The running back is Pete Johnson. His numbers don't look great, do they? 777 yards, 5 TDs, 24 receptions out of the backfield. Yards per carry is 4.1, so it's better than Billy Sims. All right, let's take a look at Don Bass, the tight end. 30 receptions, 405 yards, 6 TDs. So we have to believe that they'll get him involved. Wide receivers, Isaac Curtis. There's Isaac Curtis, 43 receptions, 538 yards, and 3 TDs. Steve Kreider. Why do I know that name? He was out of Lehigh. I thought he seems like a University of Michigan guy in my mind. 30 receptions, 425 yards with 3 touchdowns. So I'm not really seeing I don't know how they're so successful offensively. Here's a rookie. No, I'm sorry. 3rd season wide receiver. He played for Tampa Bay and Buffalo. Mike Levenseller. Never heard of this guy, which is why he doesn't have a football card. Okay. And then they have a great offensive line here. Max Montoya, he's in the Hall of Fame. Anthony Munoz, he's in the Hall of Fame. So their tackles are going to move our defensive linemen. That is for sure. These other three guys, I don't know, but this Blair Bush rated an 85. So, I mean, maybe their running game will be good against us. We'll have to see. And then their backups, they have Jack Thompson. There's Jack Thompson. You can see there. I believe he is a Native American, right? I remember that about him. And I believe he did become their regular quarterback after Kenny Anderson retired or left the team. Something to that effect. So anyway, and their third quarterback is someone named Ryan McCarthy. Yeah, out of Washington. And Jack Thompson's out of Washington State, so they like those guys. Archie Griffin, he was a two-time Heisman winner out of Ohio State. Won the Heisman Trophy 2 times. And he hasn't started here this season, so he's not really helping out too much. And nobody else here looks interesting. Lavon Mills. Yeah, none of these guys are recognizable names in my opinion. So, okay, let's take a look at the special teams. Special players for special teams. Wow, they have a whole list of players here. Wait a minute. Why is Jim Breach rated a 65 and not being used? He was their kicker. There he is there. Oh, maybe he hasn't progressed to being a regular kicker. There he is for Oakland, but he was the kicker for Cincinnati for such a long time. Instead, it's some schlub named Ian Sunter. Oh, he's a schlub that kicked for Detroit briefly, I guess. 38% field goals. Oh, man. That I like to see. His accuracy is not good. Wow. All right. Well, that makes me feel good. And then, of course, Pat McNally. There he is. Longtime punter for the Bengals. All right. Now let's look at their defense. This is what we need here to see if we can put a strategy together to beat this team. Okay. So they're missing their best cornerback, Ken Riley. And they're missing their number 2 cornerback, Lewis Breeden, right? Yeah, so he didn't have any interceptions anyway. And Ken Riley, he had 3. Long time. I actually have his rookie card. I have his 1970, I think it's like 73 actually. Was technically his rookie card. He's got a broken leg. Yeah, tough to play on a broken leg. So there's 2 major injuries. In fact, they have a guy named JoJo Heath in there with a 63. He started 5 games and has 15 tackles. JoJo, no picture, rookie out of Pittsburgh. All right. So defensive line, wow. They are horrible. They have 2 under 70 and 2 in the lower 70s. So that is good. We can blitz them. Their linebackers are way better than ours. They have it's just 3 here. Well, they're not way better. I guess they are better, though. They got Tom Dinkle, Bo Harris, and Jim LeClaire. Jim LeClaire, great player, long time Cincinnati Bengal. So he has 1 interception. And Dick Geron, the Bears head coach, defensive coach for a long time. I'm sure he's probably a consultant out there somewhere. But yeah, he played for the Lions for a while. So that's cool. Well, he's got 4 interceptions. So very impressive. So their safeties are not as good as ours. Their cornerbacks are definitely not good as ours. And their linebackers are better, and they have no defensive line, statistically anyway. So we have to feel good about our chances. I mean, if somebody gets injured mid-game, that's going to be great for us. We're rooting for injuries. It's Jim Browner out of Notre Dame. Okay. All right. So I guess if I had to say, I feel good about our chances, but I feel good about our chances every week. Let's go back to the Lions page here, and then we'll wrap this up. A pick'em, 45.5 points. I don't know. I don't know if we're going to go over, but I feel like we're going to win. I'm trying to convince you that we can win this. Here's what I'm going to do. When this is done, I'm going to do a 1969 Seattle Pilots what-if scenario game after this. And then once that game is loaded up, I'm going to go in and I'm going to redo our 3 running playbooks and try to improve those so we can get Billy Sims going here and, try to control the time of possession like we didn't do last week and get the win. I think we can win. But we'll see here. Cincinnati, they're in last place in the Central. Not eliminated yet, but close to it. And then here's our standings. We'll take a look quickly at the leaders. We didn't do that yesterday. Quarterback rating, it's Doug Williams. He doesn't really throw the ball that much, right? Oh, I'm way off. I'm wrong. Sorry. Wow. Yeah, he's almost got 3,000 yards already. So he has the highest passer rating, and Kenny Anderson's number 2. So there you go. No Danielson in sight. Billy Sims has really fallen off. He was leading the league there for a while, but Wilbert Montgomery blew by him. Tony Dorsett had a huge game yesterday. Running, and he had one big catch. It was like 60, 70 yards or something like that for a touchdown. So he's playing well. Receiving yards, it's still Freddie Scott, but Charlie Joyner closing the gap a little bit yesterday. We got to get Freddie Scott back involved. And the sacks leader is still Rulon Jones as a rookie with 8.5 sacks. And we did look at the playoffs yesterday, but we'll just show it one more time. If the season ended today, these are the players, the teams that would be in. Okay, so that's going to do it. I'm going to have my email down below. You can feel free to email me for the contest, or you can contact me on Facebook or my personal. If you're a Facebook friend of mine, you can contact me personally through Facebook, and that way we'll keep things on the up and up for the last 5 weeks of the season. Okay, that's going to do it. Stay tuned for the 1969 Seattle Pilots what-if scenario coming up shortly. Until then, everyone, have a great day.